Aloha, everyone. Welcome to Activate and Elevate with Sheila and Jan. Super grateful to be here today, the last day of the 6th month of 2023. Here we are, 6 months out from when we started. Welcome to my beautiful co-host. Good day, Miss Jan. How are you today?
Good morning, Sheila. I'm so great. I'm so excited for so many different things. Number one, I don't have to travel till October. And then we have our Costa Mesa event coming up in August. And then Peter No is throwing a big old wingding party for distributors and to bring guests for free here in July. Then we got convention in October, and then I go to Georgia in November, and just things are popping, and it's so exciting. It's a great time to be part of this team.
Well, and when, because this is pertinent to your whole experience here in the Lifewave community, when, my dear, are you moving into your brand new house?
Hopefully July 15th. And just so all of you know, if you haven't heard, it took me 67 years, but because of Lifewave, I just bought my first house. So it's not like like a single, family. It's a condo, 2 bed, 2 bath, but it's ours. And I'm gonna have my own office, my own bathroom, and I am so excited. I can't wait. So anyways, that's my news. Thank you,
Look at the
Lifewave.
joy on her face. And when David Schmidt talks to you about vitality, energy, and joy, this is it, you guys. This is it. And it gives me shivers because I can feel Jan's energy and her joy from here. So we started 6 months ago. I believe it was December 9th was our very first Activate and Elevate call that we shared with everybody. And that day, our special guest was Mr. Peter No. And I contacted Peter a couple of days ago and said, hey, what would you think about coming on Friday at the 6-month mark? And let's just talk a little bit about what we talked about, what your plans were for our, well, it wasn't Evolve team at that time, Peter. It was Be Activating, and where we were heading, what you wanted to do in the future. And now 6 months in the future, where we are, what's happened. Give us a total rundown on where we are. And you got to unmute yourself before we start going.
Wow. Thank you, Sheila. Thank you, Jan. Good morning, everyone. I love these breakfast calls, and it's good to see everybody to get the holiday party started. So I can't believe it's been 6 months, Sheila. As you know that through my trainings, I always train every 90 days. 90 days. If you're truly plugging into our system, all the podcasts, all of these, I call these private training calls, gym time calls with bodybuilders. If you're truly plugging in, I would say maybe a good 5 to 10 hours a week spare time and giving us your time to learn these skills, to go through the process of signing up people to reach your ranks. Every 90 days, you should be assessing, rinse, and repeating yourself. Does that make sense? So every time when we start the year off, because in September and August and September, it will be Marcy and I's 4-year anniversary. Okay, so just think of what has been created in 4 years. Now, I wanted to kind of take everybody back to like when you started college, right? We went through high school, we got used to having classes, and then now you're graduating to the next level in your life. And we were young. We didn't, we were not young. Marcy and I have been in the industry for a while, but creating this team, we were a young team. We did it before the COVID, right? And we grew and exploded, and we met. Jan, Sheila, and I, all of us met at convention in January of 2020. And the reason why I'm taking everybody back here is because since we have grown this year in January of 2023, my whole goal for our entire organization is to develop our leaders, to really develop the system now that is now almost 4 years old. As our team knows, Team Evolve, we did not have the Team Evolve name before. That just came out literally less than 3 months ago. So I didn't even have that in plan either, but constantly as we're evolving this group, thank you, Debbie, as we're growing, daily, because we're listening to the field, we are kind of, you kind of fine tune your business after 3 and 4 years, right? But because of the results that we're getting, because of all the people graduating every single week, every single month, every quarter with us, we're just developing a lot of credibility, and it's just proving that our system is constantly working. Now, again, when you run a business, right, you try things, right, Sheila? You try things out, you apply things. Sometimes they work, sometimes they don't. But the core of it all is that Marcy and I are only, I guess, our only goal really was to create a large organization that just has fun, and for the first time are not doing the network marketing, bad behavior stuff. So we'll go into that a little bit more as we speak. But again, if you're brand new here for the first time, if you're just watching Sheila and Jan and myself here, it's nice to meet you. You will definitely enjoy this gym, and through this interview, I think you'll get to know us better.
So Jan, do you have any questions that you want to throw out to Peter right at this moment?
How do you develop your leaders, Peter?
How do I develop my leaders? That is an open-ended question. It depends on who wants to be developed.
How do you know who wants to be developed?
When they plug into the system, when they go to the gym. How do you know who's going to be a bodybuilder? You got to go to the gym one day at a time. You would never have to tell Gail, Debbie, Sheila, Karen, and nobody, Heidi, nobody has to call people to go work out if you seriously want to work out. Nobody has to motivate you to do the business if you seriously understand why you do the business. And exactly, Rob sent me this beautiful TikTok video that I mentioned on Wednesday. So if you're serious about something, and Rob sent me this video, if you just put away 18 minutes, or was it 19 minutes, or 18 minutes a day, everyone, focusing on one subject, one topic, one thing you want to learn. If you do that for 365 days out of the year, that is 100 hours. 100 hours of pure focus on one topic. Now, how many topics can you focus on in a day if you know you're putting less than 20 minutes on one topic? So does that make sense, everyone? So if you go through this process, if you do something for one whole year and you specialize in that, for example, if you don't know what piquing interest is, if you don't know how to pre-qualify someone, if you don't know what a 333 is, if you have never plugged into a podcast, why don't you plug into a podcast for 30 minutes a day for 90 days? See how much you will learn, how much you will absorb, how much you will feel, right? How many tissues you're going to go through, how many stories you're going to hear, how your confidence level goes up. And again, this is not called posturing, okay? We're not creating an environment where we're pushing people on the business or the money side of it. We're pushing people to learn the technology. And if the technology inspires you, if it captures you, then you have piqued someone's interest, with or without you. The other part is the website, the startx39now.com, the daily patching podcast. That is a pre-qualifying tool for you to use to share information outside of you. You are Debbie, you're Ann, you're Karen, you're Heidi, you're Mary, you're always your individuality. Okay. But why is Mary partnering up with Lifewave? Why is Mary partnering up with Team Evolve, right? Because we're teaching you skills or something for free that you can apply to your life and bring value to your community. And when your community sees what you're doing and they decide to purchase something because you found their problem, you gave them the solution, and then there's transactions happening. Does that make sense, everyone? This is just common sense business. I believe the industry has just diluted and programmed everyone to do too much, do things that are not in the right behavior, or self fulfillment more than anything. Okay, and that's why you can see in our community, which I love, we have now how many? 57, I believe, executive directors, presidential directors, and senior presidential directors. Can you imagine having 57 bodybuilders that have no ego, that are bumping to each other and, trying to see who's right or wrong? That doesn't happen. Every team has problems, right? But the reason why I'm kind of boasting it now is because we have developed this culture where we all respect each other. We understand there's a time to everything. And again, network marketing is a self-development journey with a compensation plan wrapped around it. So it's your time when you're going to self-develop. And then the monetization or the money will come to you as you grow your community.
Peter, as I'm sitting here listening, and ever since the day I first met you, I have just really enjoyed being in your presence and listening to your wisdom. And even though you're a crap ton younger than me, okay?
Yeah.
And one of the things that has just been, I'm processing as you're talking, you and Marcy and Jan have always made a point of making this, God, what is the word? Duplicatable. Okay.
Yes.
Easily duplicatable. And when we owned 3 McDonald's restaurants and had 300 employees, McDonald's, they have what's called a station observation checklist, SOC, for every single station. And I honestly have never after getting out of that 30 plus years ago, in this timeline, have not experienced another system where it was so easily duplicatable and teachable to another person. And what makes this and your method and Marcy's, all your guidance, even more important to me, is that it makes it easy for people that aren't network marketers. And so, it's like when I had a 14-year-old kid come in for a job for the first time, and you just teach the same thing over to each person. Well, all of our people that have never been in network marketing, like I was, it's the same thing. We're those brand new teams, right? And we're looking towards our leadership to give us tools. And I just want to say thank you to you and Marcy and Jan for all of the tools that you guys have helped us develop and shared with us to become prosperous, because I firmly am rooted in the attitude that when you lift others up to a successful level, that makes your success even more important to you and meaningful to your own person. But when I just go out for my own success, that's kind of greedy. And so I love that we are family in this whole team. And it looks like my sweet little friend Sandy Padnos over there has a question. Let me go ahead, Sandy, unmute and ask your question for Mr. Peter.
Well, first of all, I really just wanted to underscore what Sheila just said, because Peter, as you know, unlike all of you that have had many years in this industry, I had 0, right? Mm-hmm. So I came from a successful corporate background, and you taught me that this is really a different skill set. You know, I was sort of used to applying what I learned from one job to the next, to the next. And I'm not saying that what I knew was useless. I mean, there's a certain resourcefulness or dedication, things like that, that you can learn in other places. But what you teach us is to listen, which is huge. And the other thing, though, that didn't come up in what was just said is your encouragement.
Mm.
And that is just priceless. You've always taken the attitude, not only that anybody can do it, but you know what? We all have our own rhythm and our own pace. And as long as you do the 18 minutes a day, as long as you do a little something and plug into calls like Sheila's and the patching podcasts, then you know that we're serious. And I love when I always thought it was interesting that you always know who's on the calls. And part of you figuring out who really wants to work the business. So I think I had more of a comment than a question, Sheila. But if I could ask Peter a question, I'd love to talk about your 30-day cycle. And
Yes.
when you plan your 30-day rhythm to your business, what are the elements that you're taking a look at? I know that you're always trying to keep it fresh, but consistent. And that is a bit of your genius, I will say,
Yeah.
because fresh usually is like throw out the baby with the bathwater. Okay, we're going to try something all new. No, tell
No.
me, what do you do fresh and what do you do consistent?
So that's a great question. And I think it depends on what phase or where are you in your build. For Marcy and I, again, we're going into this is our 4th year. We have different roles now. Okay, meaning that our role is really, again, my job this year. I wanted to focus on my first, second, and third generations, my leadership, because now we're going into that phase where it's not about Marcy and Peter anymore. It's really the next level of leaders that are coming up, and we're seeing all that. Like all the new executives, presidential directors, and senior presidential directors. They were here 2 years, 3 years ago. Does that make sense? So now everybody's graduating, Sandy. So for to answer that question, maybe for the brand new person, what I like to see for the brand new person that has never been in the industry before, when they come here, my whole vision is for them to come see, like, imagine, Sandy, you pick up a young college student or something at a Starbucks or something, right? And you have a conversation with them, and you're so experienced in the corporate world. Now you're sharing them this world, and you see some potential in this young kid, right? Imagine he goes into the gym now, and he opens up that door, and when he goes to that door, he knows exactly, like, the first thing is that captures him is, wow, look at all these bodybuilders. Look at all these people that are working out. And then when he gets excited, inspired, because he sees something and feels something without being pushed information to that. Does that make sense, everyone? It's the pushing information that turns things off.
Yes.
It's
I
not
agree.
anything else. It's how how did you get that information? Now, if Sandy was never developed, or if she never learned our way, our style of organic pushes, meaning dropping information, peaking and pre-qualifying. If she never taught that, was never taught that, that young kid would never felt that to go with her. And if that young kid now goes into the gym because Sandy just organically learned how to listen to him, organically knows where to guide him, and she opens up the door for him, and he sees this himself, and then he asks, how did they get there? How did these bodybuilders build such muscles? What tools did they use? What was their diet? What was their schedule? Do you understand, right? It's just all broken down again in simple terminologies, and that is called duplication. So I've always remember, Sheila, when I started the podcast, I was like, hey, this is March of 2020, April, May, June. I go, one day we're going to have 7 days a week 2 SPDs doing the calls every day. And look at what happened today. So again, because we're developing, and we can say this stuff now today more than ever because it came true. If we never committed or stuck in the same, if we always change the things that we always change, like a lot of other teams do, because they can't figure it out, that will cause confusion. There will be stagnancy. And that's what's happening. I'm just saying straight up. I listen to other sidelines. I know exactly what's going on in other teams. They call me, their leaders call me and go, what are you guys doing? How are you popping all these ranks every week? You know, and I go, it's literally because we kept it simple. We keep it organic. We don't do what everybody else does, but we have a system to support and be on the same page. So Sandy, to answer your question, what is the 30-day run? For a brand new person, I would say always plug into the system first. Let them see the gym. Let them feel the gym. Let them get to these calls right here. Let them let them get their own aha moment. If you got them the first 30 days, if they know that this is their home, if they know that, oh my God, Sandy didn't push me. She just asked me how many hours I had. I only had about 5 hours a week. And then I plugged into these calls in the 5 hours, and then I got excited. And then I told my mom and my aunt, and then they started to sign up because they got excited. And then, you know what I mean? Week by week by week, I just want to see small growth. That small growth, though, will be compounded, okay? So, but now for my schedules, everybody, you know, my job is really now, Marcy and I are really finishing up and dialing in the system. What is that system? The Biz website now is going to get overhauled. The whole startx39biz.com. That's going to be overhauled, okay, to look like the Now site. It's going to be smooth. It's going to be easier to find things. It's going to be video driven. There has to be an onboarding. We don't have a right onboarding, meaning exactly what to do, what to say, onboarding new people on. We're missing that. We have to update all our testimonial site because we have 1,500 recordings and it's time to update a lot of them, okay, on the new sites. We have the new, there's no new site, Debbie. It's just startx39biz.com. That's our biz com. But we're changing that. We're going to upgrade it, okay? We're going to upgrade it. So we're now creating new wealth podcasts. Has anybody been on the first and second wealth podcast? Those are interview styles. Those are just ways to resonate with, why is a Dr. Harmon doing this business? Why is a leader from another company coming here? Why is this janitor who's never been successful? Why is this janitor doing network marketing? We're going to interview people so they can resonate, so you can share. And then imagine the 4 years of rank advancements. It's going to take us another 4 years to interview everyone. So we as an organization will never, ever run out of stories. Does that make sense, everyone? Our stories are constantly fresh because we have brand new people that are part of that story. This is not an organization where you're just constantly beating the same drum, talking to the same leader, and sharing the same testimonial stories every single day, every week. There will never be that over here. So, Sandy, I hope that was kind of like a big question, but kind of broke it down for you.
I really appreciate you so much, and Sheila and Jan, and thank you all for always encouraging and being so smart together. Appreciate you all.
Thank you. Thank you.
So just for people's FYI, I put over in chat a document, a PDF that is Business at a Glance, that came from Charity to Jan, and I have updated it, but it has all of those links for plugging in our brand new people, okay? And what Peter is talking about, going to the different sites, going to the different places. But that just got thrown in there for anybody that would like to take a look at it. And I really just want to say, Peter, the new name of our team is exactly what you were just speaking. Okay. I mean, it is evolving. We are ever evolving, and we are allowing ourselves to evolve as a team so that we can support everybody on this team and lift everybody up. And that fills my heart, because I do remember those first 3 months of podcasts, and we were interviewing each other and searching and searching for people that had results from their experiences with the X39. It is a challenge to get people to open up and be, come out to the podcast still today and share. But it's not like we're redoing the same people over and over, because that was all we had. Now we have people on our podcast from all over the planet, and it's pretty amazing. So it looks like Jess has a question for you. Jess, go ahead and.
Hi. So you partly answered my question when you said you'd be interviewing more people over time, which, I mean, there's so many moving parts here. There's just so many. And I've been in sales, I've been around long enough to know myself and how I go into overwhelm because I see the big picture, but I'm also really good with the details. So I'm trying not to be an organized maniac and just get out there and, I'm just talking to people every day. But part of my question around this is to hear from other people who aren't bringing in the network marketers, right?
Yes.
You're coming in with the force.
Yes.
And I have my own force in that I know thousands of people, but they're all in different, they're not network marketers.
Correct.
So there's a frustration level because I'm working it. And I know to step back and not get frustrated, but it's still there. So I guess that somehow, if you could address that for those of us who are in this position, not to go on and on about it. Does that make sense?
Actually, it makes a lot of sense. And that's always on the back of my mind when I pick the right people to interview. And again, we're just going through the first phases because it's only 1 day a week.
Yeah.
Imagine just in a month, we can only interview 8 people out of thousands. So
Right.
it's very hard to choose which one, but that's why I say as a whole, like right here, we have 47 of us. This is a whole today, right? Mm-hmm. This is one call. Later on in the afternoon, we're gonna have Laura and somebody else, Heidi, right? Or somebody talking. That's gonna be another couple hundred people. And then just imagine as a whole though, Jesse, what do you share for thousands of people a week to see?
Yeah, and I know you're taking on it's
huge.
You're taking on something really huge, and I completely appreciate. So it's not negative or complaint. It's just
no, but I like it though.
Important and very viable for so many who are coming in.
And this whole process, Jesse, and you're the perfect example of, again, how do you create an environment? How do you create a culture where we're really trying to push away the network marketers? We're literally like, okay, reprogram, relearn. Okay, that is the hardest thing. And for leaders to come into our organization, for them to leave their ego, their programming behind also, it's a task. But that's why I say we focus on individuals. So Jesse, how is this system clearing you and teaching you new ways that you can bring on the next phase of the right people? And again, with dealing with non-network marketers, they have to learn the network marketing lingo, but they don't have to learn all the bad behaviors that network marketing has been teaching. Okay, that's what we want to get away from. But they still have to learn the model, why we do this, and then they take that on as their entrepreneurship into this industry. So,
right, and how to bring that forward without them being complete I find that people have to be really lit by the experience,
Correct.
but
Correct.
there are those who are in business who could get it if it's presented properly, just from that perspective. So it's there's a
It's a
lot
fine
here.
line, but
It's a
again,
lot.
the beautiful thing is David Schmidt, again, he only required you 2. So if you if it takes 18 minutes, 20 minutes a day, Rob, every day just to define 2 people, if it takes you 100 hours to find 2 people in 1 year to develop them, duplicate them, work
Mm.
with them, let the system, let the gym work with them, and let them be who they are. And Jesse, you're the one who enrolled those 2. You deserve to retire. You deserve that retirement, right? So that's where we're at.
Okay.
But
You
great
know,
question.
Jesse, one of the things that I remember from the very first time I met Peter and we had conversation about this, because I certainly would never have considered myself network marketer, even though I, was in Young Living and doTERRA and Epiphany, blah, blah,
Blah, blah, blah.
blah. But he told me, you always have to keep your eyes open for someone who's at least as good as you or better.
Mhm.
And, one of the things that I, in the beginning had frustration with was because I'm not a network marketer. Okay. That was the tape I had playing in my head. And so I kind of put my own limiting beliefs and decisions, created what I was able to build. Okay. And I think that when we are going out and sharing, there's a point where for Peter, he has such a business built right now that he is literally, in my opinion, looking strictly for business people now, right? Is that correct, Peter?
Correct.
Whereas people that are starting out,
Yes.
building their foundation, you know what, my mind is on both forks. I'm here to share this amazing technology that brought miracles into my life. And I know it can help other people. And I keep a journal that, I write what I'm choosing to manifest. And one of my writings that I've written hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of times is, I am a senior director and I call forth whale business builders to my network. All right. And I cannot tell you how many times I wrote that. And the last week of that promotion, so last week we were in, I popped my first true whale, who was a friend, who's a network marketer, and I did it as I was ranking to senior director. Okay, right, Peter? So my point is, there comes a point, one, where you have to literally choose to let go of the limiting decision that you're not a marketer. If you are building this business, you are a network marketer. Okay. Two, in NLP, in my other job and outside of this, when I'm helping coach people, we teach about what is called the physiology of excellence. And when I say those words, I'm looking at Peter No. I am looking at Marcy. And the physiology of excellence, the whole concept of that is that you find a mentor that is achieved what you're choosing to achieve in your life, in your personal life, your public life, your career, whatever that focus is. And then you behave and you follow those same steps. Well, these guys made that duplicatable system. And, I totally understand the frustration part in human design world. For those of you that know what human design is, my anti thing, the thing that shakes me up the most is frustration. And so allowing yourself to be unfrustrated about this, to allow yourself to see, okay, I am in a point of life, I'm changing who I am and choosing to be, and I'm going to create my life to be like, physiology of excellence. It doesn't just mean modeling myself after them, but your physiology of excellence is, how am I holding myself right now on this phone call?
Mhm.
Am I
Thank you.
sitting here talking with you, or am I kind of just, like, don't really give a crap? Okay. And those what expectation is the architect of all frustration, right? Never, just like quick when having expectations, Rob. I agree on that totally. So I just want to say thank you to Peter, because he does teach us, who had never chosen to wear the mantle of network marketer, because I certainly have business, my Young Living business. Okay. Nobody taught me how to do it. And you're going to laugh. I have a horizontal downline of 150 people. Horizontal. I make $30 a
Wow.
month.
Wow. Wow.
So, thank you
How
with
much
that.
how much are you spending on that $30 a month
Yeah.
too? So
Right. I spend about $80 a month on my essential oils.
correct. So
And
Yeah.
can I offer a little twist of thinking, which is, because I really appreciate what you said, because I am recreating myself. I have a new era in my life that I've never seen before. So I'm still totally psyched. But when we say, I'll just put this out there and you can sit with it and see if it works. When we say, I am great, or I am a senior director, or whatever it is that you want to see in the future, my experience in doing this work with clients is that, or with myself, that we get that unconscious is going, the subconscious, the unconscious is going, no, whether it's ego or whatever it is, are saying, no, it's not true. So I've never found affirmations to work for me, and not for a lot of other people, because we tend to get discouraged and not believing, and we'll say, I believe, but there's another way that I've been playing with that says, what if I've always been a senior director? What if, so that you're asking, instead of challenging your subconscious or whatever that negative place in ourselves is, which is the natural human condition, is to question it as a kind of positive question, like curious. What if I'm healthy? Whatever it is that you are wishing for, hoping to strive for. So just play with it if it feels right. I found it brings clarity.
I'll piggyback on that one, Jesse. So affirm attracting something or saying something, affirming something, right?
Mhm.
You cannot say, I want to be an SPD if you've never done network marketing before, like now. Does that make sense, everyone? I cannot be a race car driver if I never drove a car. I cannot be a barber if I never held a pair of scissors. Do you know what I mean? That kind of deal. I believe everything, like however you want to language yourself to believe. The main thing is your heart, your body has to believe that's possible. So that's why. Why do you think we focus on the steps to become a manager? Because if you believe you did those steps to become a manager, if you believe you became a manager, and then the next step is to develop a manager, that is the thing. Like, I believe I want to become the best hairstylist. Let me pick up the scissor. Let me pick up the comb. Let me start cutting 4 haircuts, right? And then I can believe I can cut the hair. Now I can maybe go to the next step. So over here, my number one pet peeve, this is my number one pet peeve. Our whole business is based on your relationships, which is your database. My number one pet peeve is when a leader teaches someone to go out and talk to anyone, anyway, and just getting it out there and blow their database. Blow all the hard of years working of people trusting you, and even though we have the best product, but if you don't know how to message the best product, if you don't know how to deliver that messaging and you're just coming in like another bullet train like every other network marketer in the industry and pushing information to people, then people will skip that step. You don't learn how to define the steps you made to the manager. And that is the pinnacle to me. You cannot be an SPD without being a manager and developing managers. That is hands down the whole process. So, Jesse, just to answer your question now, whatever it takes for you to believe you become, do it. You know, I had to trick myself. I'll give you the last one. I never saved money, everyone. My mom taught me, and this is bad, okay? She taught me, if you like that donut or if you like that croissant, and if it costs whatever money it is, if you feel like having it, you go get it. That has my philosophy since I was a boy, okay? I've never saved money. It's because I know how to make money because my mom taught me how to make money. Does that make sense? So if I wanted that BMW, if I wanted that whatever phone, if I wanted that backpack, I had to figure out how to earn it, and I did it. And I even put myself into debt because I believe I could pay off that car. Does that make sense, everyone? So I know you got to learn your own style, your pressure, but I'm a pressure guy. I work good under pressure. I put myself in pressure because then when I accomplish that goal, everything else is easy for me now. Does that make sense? Go ahead, Sheila.
It does.
Thank
You know, one of the things that in my other profession, okay, which is exactly what you're talking about, just is the it's limiting decisions and limiting beliefs.
Mhm.
All right. And these are can be from literally in the womb. Okay, mom talking about stuff, you know, oh, I never wanted you, whatever. Or from your third grade teacher when you sang out of tune and she said, why are you singing? You know, keep your mouth shut. You're not a singer. So you implant, oh, I can't sing. And for 40 years, you don't sing. All right. These are limiting decisions, limiting beliefs. And when you're in this situation we are with network marketing and you're choosing to build a business, my suggestion to you is honestly, sit still somewhere quietly and write down on a piece of paper, when did I decide I was not a network marketer? And allow yourself to go back to that point of that beginning of that limiting decision. Man, I found mine like that about a year and a half ago when I was ready to come back into the system and be a network marketer. And, you know, it's crazy. My daughter was like 6 months old. So this is 37 years ago this happened. My husband and I were invited to, we lived in Portland. We were invited to an Amway conference thing up in Seattle. And the only reason we wanted to do that was so we could go and watch the Seattle Seahawks play football. My father-in-law, who owned McDonald's restaurants, found that out and he went ballistic. You are not into multi-level marketing. You're not a pyramid scheme, blah, blah, blah. It took me 37 years to allow myself to come to the point that I am a network marketer. Okay. Jan and I were messaging, I don't know, a couple months ago about something. I'm watching Hawaii 5-0. It is like my love. You remember this, Jan? And Kathleen and Jan, and they're like, and I'm like, oh, for God's sake, you two. And I said, I guess, you know, you're a network marketer when your friends are talking to you and you turn off Hawaii 5-0. It's my favorite, right?
Remember that.
So allow yourself to find those start points. When did you decide that? And then, for what purpose am I withholding this goodness from myself? For what purpose? Okay. Ooh, I just found a giant ant.
And Peter brings so much. What you're being the mentor for all the people who didn't have that ground that you were given, right? Of saying, go do it. And
Yeah.
I'm processed out. I've been processing for the last 50 years. I'm just ready. I'm at the point of doing. But the belief, I have just one last comment. Sorry.
Okay.
I better start my own. I want to do an inspirational program for all of us if I can. But that belief comes from feeling. It's not in the mind.
Feel.
It comes from feeling, it's from having experience. So keep duplicating, keep repeating everything that we're being shown here from all of our great leaders. And that eventually it will be felt in our own personal experience. So.
And again, Jesse, that's a great question. I think everybody here resonates with that. We understand. And that's why Marcy and I, again, we always focus on the brand new people.
Yeah, you do.
But again, what Sheila said, make sure those people are like you or better than you. So then at least we can start from that foundation. Imagine all of us are bringing people that are not better than you here. Just imagine thousands of people are just signing up Harry, Dick, and Joe. Okay? That means this culture, this gym is not going to evolve. We're going to be called a babysitting club. Okay? And we're called independent distributors. Our title is independent distributors. We're not dependent distributors. So if you want to work with people that are dependent on you, it's going to take you a while to graduate. And that's what
I'd say
don't
run.
want. Correct? So
I'd say run for your life when you're.
You know, we've done, and again, I'll leave it with this. A lot of the leaders, even on our sidelines, uplines, they don't understand until they physically come into our system and hear it, see it for themselves. It is mind-boggling to them how this growth has happened without talking about money, they even said, so Peter, when do you talk about the comp plan? When does the money come in? I go, there isn't. What are you talking about? I go, there isn't. You get pre-qualified here. You listen to this. If you want to move forward, we have a one-on-one call. That's why it's so personal when you come here. You get to see the big gym, and then you get a personal one-on-one call, and then you pick which package you want. That's it. And then rinse and repeat. Go through that process.
That's right. It's a beautiful process, and I'm grateful to it. Jan, what do you got on tap?
What's the question?
What do you have to comment about all this?
You know, I was an Amway not once but twice, and I learned all the bad habits. Like Amway is probably the company that really messed it up for most people. Then I was in other ones, and I was just never really successful. What's that with you, Peter? Is that Dana?
This is
Dana
everyone.
Zappala?
This is Dana Zappala. She's our chiropractor here. She is the very first person on my left leg. Just like Marcy, I was one of the first one on Marcy's left leg. Dana is one of the first person on my left leg. She's a chiropractor. She went through 4 years of life. Things got in the way, right, Dana?
Right.
But because the business works and she developed, I mean, she has like 8 million, 10 million points on one leg. Okay. And the business is still growing on the other side, which is why we're here. She never gave up. She just plugs right in. She fits us in the nooks and crannies. There is no pressure. I never call her and go, Dana, where you at? What are you doing? Why aren't you recruiting? Why aren't you, it's just relationship. It just goes. So Dana's a perfect example. So Jan, Sheila, everyone's a perfect example here.
Yeah, so I was just never really good at it. And I guess that belief came because I just, I'd hit a certain level, but I never made any substantial money.
Okay.
And Marcy, the genius of Marcy is knowing who she's talking to and how to talk to them. If she had said, hey, I want to introduce you to a new network marketing business, I would have run for the hills. That we had dinner and she just told me her story and that she had this gifting business, and you've all heard my story. And bottom line, I just wanted to hang out with Marcy. And I am extremely fortunate that I live 5 miles from her. And I just, like Peter said, we started this right before COVID hit, and I would lay on the bed. I hung out with Marcy through all of COVID. how lucky am I? We would lay on her bed. I would listen to her make phone calls. And I watched her develop the whole system. I started mailing out gifts for her as a friend. And then it like now, who would have known almost 4 years later, I would be doing what I'm doing. But I didn't believe in myself. And like you said, Jess, I could never picture myself up on stage ranking. But I plugged into the system. I held on to Marcy's coattails. There's a couple of other leaders that I love and respect. And my advice is if you have somebody that you love, reach out and ask for help because people are very happy to help you. But you got to figure out what your personal issues are. My lack of self-belief, and I know I make comments sometimes that show that. But you got to fix the things that you need to fix, fine tune. If you talk to somebody and you don't get the results you want, look at it. What did I say? How could I have done that differently? Ask for help. And here I am today, a presidential director, which is beyond my wildest dreams. And Peter, we were on stage in Houston, and Peter was introducing me because when you're, a rank, you get to come up on stage and give a what's it
Intro.
called? A business tip, a business tip.
Yeah.
And I said, I always point out, Peter didn't believe in me. Peter knew me from other things where I was never successful. I was a basket case. So Peter never would have contacted me. But Marcy understood who I am and how I felt about myself, and she knew exactly how to talk to me. And here I am. And if I can do it, anybody can do it. So that's what I got.
And Jan is just adding on to all the leadership of all walks of life again. Remember, there's a Jan, there's a Carol McDonald, there's a Sally, there's a Lynn, there's a Savi. There's all walks of life here, right? So we all create this gym.
And what's great is, I heard somebody earlier talking about, pulling in a whale, a big network marketer. No, I can't relate to these big network marketers that have these, organizations of people that follow them. Follow me anywhere, It's like, but when you have a product that works and you learn how to peak them correctly and you get the product in their hand and learn the proper verbiage, now I swear to God, people call me to join.
You're the whale. You're the whale now. Oh my God.
I know. I just sponsored somebody in Japan.
Wow.
And it's taken me a friggin' week to figure out how to do it. It's so complicated.
Now you can teach me.
and now I got people in Portugal calling me and in Amsterdam. And it's like crazy how people start calling you. You just have to figure out who you are and keep working at it.
And Jan, I have to say, and with those that I know there are people on this call right now that have been in the system nearly as long as the three of us and have followed our three journeys. Okay. And the person that you have become is that physiology of excellence person. People are wanting to be Jan Rand. Okay. And I know that a year ago, 2 years ago for certain, but even as far, as close back as a year ago, you had no self-confidence. And I remember when I talked to you about doing these calls and you're like, I'll be your sidekick. And I'm like, I don't want a sidekick. I want a partner up here. And being able to see you blossom has been another gift of Lifewave. And I think that that's something that the three of us up here talking as leaders, I'd like to just say it for all of us, that we're all grateful to be able to watch all these people in Lifewave blossom. And how many of us, I'll be 60 years old in October. And I'm a person that redefines myself every so many years. I choose to do something new and different. But how many people right now in 2023 are from the ages of 40 through 60 plus that are waking up and finding themselves stuck, lost, without purpose and no more jobs because of the last 3 stinking years that have happened here in America. And we have an opportunity to share the ability to recreate yourself personally, your wealth, your community, and how, to me, that's super, super exciting. And what do you guys think about that, Jan and Peter?
I 1000% kudos. This is, I mean, I think you just hit it. I think this is something where you, as an individual, you were asking for the light. Somehow we found you. You have to take that next step now to go to the light, right? And that's exactly what Sheila just said. We found you. Now, what are you going to do? And that process takes time. I would even say this. I'm listening to so many like podcasts now from masculine men and things that are going on in the world, and it might be off topic, but we have so lost the power in today's time, Sheila, like what you just mentioned. And when people find this, at least when the patch finds you, how can we elevate your frequency, number one, because all our frequencies are down. We're being blocked right now. Everybody understands that, right? You don't even know what's blocking you, but you're still feeling blocked. And we have these tools in our hands. So we're just, as a community, we're seeing each other grow, which again, when you see people graduate, for example, when a freshman comes in college and then they see the seniors graduate, that is their inspiration, right? To say, one day I will graduate. But over here, we're telling you the only way you graduate is you got to develop yourself. If you don't develop yourself, and again, there's no race here. I don't care if it takes you 6 years, 7 years, 8 years, okay? You will have to develop 2 people in your career. Some people can do it faster, some people don't. Some people do it faster because they already develop themselves to develop others. Jan, it took her this journey. This is the journey for her right here. This is the breakthrough. This is the championship moment. She won a championship now because Marcy believed in her. A lot of the people that won championships here is because we believed in them. We believe in you, but we're not going to push you. We're not going to convince you, and we're not going to enable you. You got to do this yourself. So that is the partnership. The one thing I don't want to see is a lopsided partnership, meaning leaders are posturing and saying things they shouldn't say and do to program you in false expectations, manage false rewards. Oh, thank you. Manage false successes. Okay. And we're seeing a lot of that. I'm calling it out. I'm letting you know because I want to teach my teams how to recognize bad behaviors so you don't do that stuff. And we're going to make sure that you don't do it. So protect your database like it's gold. It's silver and gold right now. Okay. This is your, do not burn through it. At least give everyone that you're going to call a chance to meet the real you. The real you, okay? Not the programmed you, not the fake you, not because you heard it is the next greatest thing to talk this way. No, it's just normal conversations, okay? And we're giving you permission to fail fast, fail forward fast. You can only do 3 a day, right? You can only fail 20 minutes at a time. So don't do it, okay? So, and Heidi's another example. You know, I still remember the first time she called me and she was going through her life change, doing a couple other things that, you know, wasn't helping her in her life. It was just pulling her different directions. And it takes time to listen to Heidi and let her go through that process. And she plugs in every day. She does what she has to do. And one day she will pop because she's going to resonate and find 2 people that are just going to go. So what a beautiful call today, Sheila and Jan.
Absolutely.
Thanks for joining us, Peter. It's always great to have you here and your words of wisdom.
Congratulations on your new house. I can't wait to come drop off some sleeves over there. And
excited.
That's another thing. Savi, everybody knows Savi Vargas. He's building a brand new house too. Okay. The fruits of the labor is literally everybody is at least in this lifetime getting to accomplish one thing that it's like their dream, right? So Jesse or anybody, if you feel like you're not accomplishing, just maybe sit back and do the quiet time and dream of something, one thing you want to accomplish, and use Lifewave as the tool to accomplish that, right? So my whole goal here, I'm gonna leave with this before I go. My whole dream is, my whole life is just to be free. My goal is just to be free. Free from an alarm clock, free from somebody telling me what to do. I will fight tooth and nails and tooth for me to be free. And because I'm free, all my friends get to see what freedom really looks like too. I will fight for your freedom, okay? I don't want you to have an alarm clock. I don't want you to have a boss. I want you to enjoy this last phase in our life and just run with something, okay? And I've never been involved with $1 billion brand before. I've heard about it. I've been promised it, but I've never been in it. This is all our chance to be the one time to be part of something bigger than life, okay? And Sheila's worked with McDonald's. That's a multi-billion-dollar corporation, but those employees did not benefit from her, okay? This time around, Sheila's gonna leave tens of thousands of people that are gonna benefit from this billion-dollar brand. So it's been a great call. Thank you everyone for joining. As always, these calls again are just part of this gym schedule that is just helping you develop. Things are going to move. We're changing energies around, but just know Sheila and Jan and all our leaders here, we're constantly here just to hold your hand and guide you through the process. Okay. That's all our job is to do. So happy 4th of July weekend, everyone. Enjoy it with your friends and family. And I'm going to pass it back on to Sheila and Jan.
A quick announcement, just if anybody here works in the office Monday and Tuesday, the training in the office is closed Monday and Tuesday for the holiday. Somebody asked to go over the promotion. Dr. Stacy did a great little video on it, but it's basically if you go into your back office, go to store, click promotion, you can get an Eon, an Icewave, and an Energy, and you save 20%. I think the price comes out to $119. And I don't know if this is the right place to say it, but there's different team leaders that are throwing out special promotions for their team. I know Gail took advantage of the promotion that I'm running. So anybody that's specifically on my team, if you haven't heard about it, feel free to get in touch with me and I'm happy to share that with you. But that's specific for different leaders. So that's all I got.
Well, I just want to say thanks to everybody on this call. And excuse me, I know that when we chose the time and everything, it was kind of like Friday, people are still working. But you know what? That's why we have recordings and replays. And share this with your downline, because Peter's words, the questions that were asked of him today, there are wisdom, and they are how we can duplicate our system and be the leaders that, if you want to be a leader on the team, you got to work towards it. It's a choice. And, I didn't just wake up and say, oh, I'm going to be a leader on the team. No, I talked to Peter and Marcy a long time ago about what my plan was and where I want to be, and Jan. And so you got to make plans for yourself. It's okay to make plans. Do it. Level up. And just, God bless everybody. It's a beautiful weekend. I have my 40th wedding anniversary Sunday.
Oh,
Roll into the 4th of July.
Congratulations.
Thank you. So it's
40
an
years?
exciting
What's
weekend.
the Gary secret?
40 years. Never go
Yeah.
to bed mad at each other. And, sometimes you just got to suck it up and allow for those weird idiosyncrasies that your spouse or partner or mate have, and they allow the same back. Because I know I got some weird idiosyncrasies in my life. But thanks, everybody. We love you. It will be July when
Bye.
we again. Have a great weekend and happy 4th and be safe. All right.
Bye.
Thank
Happy
you.
4th.
Love you all.
Goodbye.
Bye, everybody.